All right, we're back. We have a bunch more games coming to Xbox Game Pass in July. The month is looking phenomenal. Stream Your Own Games continues to expand out as Xbox adds a bunch more games to the service. Marathon, as we know, this game now has officially been delayed with the whole controversy and everything surrounding it. It looks like they are making changes here to the art, so we will take a look at that. FBC Firebreak, the online multiplayer co-op shooter. When I've played a bit of it, I wasn't sure how successful it was going to be, but it looks like it is doing decently well. And the game obviously still needs some improvements. Borderlands 4, interesting in news about that in terms of the pricing going forward. And the Nintendo Switch 2, the game key cards. Why are these even here? Is it the publisher? Was it Nintendo? We have a story on that. So before we do jump into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like it. It really helps get the channel out there for more people to see it. But for now, let's jump into it. So Game Pass has been phenomenal throughout this entire year. It is not slowing down, and I really don't see it slowing down at all. In 2025, there's just so many games to look forward to, from third-party day one games, first-party, just lots of stuff to still play as we get through here to the end of the year. But July 2025, we already know what is coming in, and it is, again, another big month. And this is what we know so far. There could be more games, which happens all the time with Game Pass, that we don't know about that do get announced. Here is the list for July 2025 that we do know about. We got Little Nightmares 2 coming here on July 1st, Rise of the Tomb Raider as well on July 1st. Then we have the day one game here, first party Xbox game from Activision, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, which is a game I absolutely am looking forward to because I loved 1+2. It got the collector's edition with the whole skateboard and everything, and we'll be picking this one up as well. So excited to jump into that. We have Abiotic Factor here coming on July 22nd, Wheel World on July 23rd. Then another big one here, day one game, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which a lot of people are pretty excited about. They're excited to play this one. It has a decent amount of hype around it, and a big third party get here from Xbox dropping day one. And then Grounded 2's early access on July 29th. So some big games here. The only ones that I don't really know anything about here is Abiotic Factor. This is a game that I believe is a day one launcher into the service. So July 22nd is when it does come out. So this is a day one launch, and this is an action adventure game here. You can see just kind of some of the screenshots for it. It has some interesting graphic style, first person shooter with, I think, some building mechanics and stuff in there. So that one could be interesting. And then we also have Wheel World here, which again, I don't know too much about this one, but I believe this is also a day one game. And this is from Annapurna Interactive, and this is a biking game. You're just kind of going and doing some biking stuff in a world with probably relaxing, racing, all of that stuff. So another day one game, though, as this is dropping in Game Pass. So it's a big month right now that we know about so far. And there will be still 2 announcements of Game Pass games for July. We'll include these into those announcements, but there's always other things that we don't fully know about. I mean, you can even just think back recently to the remaster of Space Marine that just randomly dropped into the service, and maybe we will see more of that stuff here in July for Xbox Game Pass. But the service continues to get huge and continue to get better, and this all comes around the time where Xbox is expanding their ecosystem. We're getting the update here for bringing launchers into the Xbox app and kind of giving that full vision of where you can access and play all of your games in a singular place across multiple devices, which is expanding out. And it will continue to expand out, especially as we move into the end of 2025. 2025 for Game Pass, and I think for Xbox as a brand and for Xbox as an ecosystem, is going to be a very defining year in a lot of changes that have been made, setting themselves up for the next generation. One of those other things that it will help in the future, especially if some games aren't Xbox Play Anywhere and they don't have that feature where you can download the game natively both on PC or whatever device that you're on, plus the console, which I think that's going to be coming less and less. I think there will be most new games coming up. Xbox is going to try to get them Xbox Play Anywhere, especially with the way that they are going. And if you do think about the future of the platform and the console, if there's only one version of the game released, no matter where you're playing Xbox, it's basically going to be Xbox Play Anywhere because it's going to be that same version that you are downloading. But for the games that don't have that feature, one that just came out in March, which was Assassin's Creed Shadows, didn't have Xbox Play Anywhere, but you could still play it on multiple devices because it was a part of the stream your own game feature. 17 more titles are coming here, including an unannounced release. So they are, again, expanding this out, adding more content, which is always a good thing. Here are the 17 new Xbox Stream Your Own games that are coming soon, and will be another one here that it was just revealed on June 23rd. So Aliens, Fireteam Elite, American Arcadia, Amnesia the Bunker, Black Desert, Bus Simulator 21 Next Stop, Darkest Dungeon 2, Dicey Dungeons, Gothic Classic, which has yet to release on Xbox, but is coming to the Stream Your Own games, Lawn Mowing Simulator, Payday 3, Remnant from the Ashes, Skull the Hero Slayer, Sniper Elite V2 Remastered, the Jackbox Party Pack 7, Train Sim World 4, Who's Your Daddy, and XCOM 2. So more coming. And we're seeing them trickle more and more of those games into the Stream Your Own game service, which I think will be a major part going forward to fill in loopholes, to fill in games that don't have the Play Anywhere feature, and just for people who want to pick up and play their games on their phone, on the go, plug in one of your controllers, and you can still jump in and play them there. So very cool to see that happening. And as I've said in terms of Xbox cloud gaming, it needs to improve. And I believe we've heard that they are working on improving it, bringing it up to like 4K and everything. But the overall service of it right now and the overall latency that I've been experiencing, it's been pretty good. I mean, it has been clear. I don't get really too much artifacting. It seems pretty responsive to the controllers, and I feel like they've improved it a decent amount over the last year or so. All right, when it comes to Marathon, as we know, is in big trouble. I thought this game was going to succeed when we first saw it because of Bungie, because they already have a user base of people who like to play their games, who are going to go and try out the next game from Bungie, knowing that mechanically, gameplay-wise, it will more than likely be a fun game to jump in and play. So I thought they would have a crowd, and then that crowd, if the game was good, would expand out, word of mouth, all that stuff could help the game succeed. And then all the controversies hit. Now the game has been delayed. It is also going up against other extraction shooters like Arc Raiders, which looks phenomenal. So it's in for a big ride here. Whether it's going to be successful or not is the question. I think this game has to succeed for PlayStation and for Sony, especially after the failure of Concord. So they've gone ahead and delayed the game. And now we're seeing some leaks as to some of the changes that are occurring here with the game. It does seem like they are changing some of the visuals, or at least trying to improve the visuals, as well as adding some new additions before this game does eventually release. We have this report here from Forbes saying Marathon NDA alpha leaks show visual improvement details and new additions. So here are some of the stuff. This is from Twitter user, it's Roxiza, who says that they have not signed an NDA, but have access to the information with now deleted images. And he says Bungie contacted him to delete the images, and while not legally required to do so, he did it to be nice. He says, I did save them, but I'm not going to actually post them here for a similar reason, but I'll talk about what was shown. So this was some of the updates here to Marathon. A series of outdoor screenshots show a much more finished look with more density and far better lighting than the last alpha, confirming large improvements have been made not all that long after the last test. There's a shot of what happens to be blue blood pooling in water after a player's death, similar to what we've seen in cinematics. And there's also appears to be at least some experimentation with actual enemy corpses left on the map after death, albeit with a duffel bag still present. And these reflect player complaints from the alpha, as it seemed out of step with all the promotion to have enemies simply evaporate. Also says here that the black market has materials exchange where you can trade higher tier ones for lower tier ones, and they have new icons. The map legend now more closely says where things like anomalies and bosses are. There are new snipers called the V99 channel rifle, which takes volt cell ammo, handles similarly to the TF2 sniper. Resurrection timers are a lot longer, and the new medic runner has the ability to give a player a heal drone that follows them to restore health over time. They can also drop medkits set to play similarly to Apex Lifeline. So these are all of the things that I guess technically aren't leaks because they did not actually sign an NDA. So there was no legal reason why they didn't have to show it off, but they aren't because they've been asked not to do it. And it does sound like they are making some big changes here. The biggest question I think a lot of people will have is, how big will the visual style change? And will it really change very much at all? I think it won't. I don't think there'll be a massive change when you're looking at it from what we've seen from the promotions and from the alpha tests to when this game does come out, because that would involve basically bringing it to the ground and then rebuilding it up. And they're not going to do that. I think that one of the things with the delay is they are probably hoping for a lot of people to forget of what happened with the art and everything and the controversy surrounding that. And if the game does drop and it is good and it's fun and a lot of people are playing it, they probably will. Time generally does heal a lot of these things, and the outrage that you do see online doesn't always reflect, or a lot of times doesn't actually reflect what the final outcome and what the results of a game's release will be. So we will see what happens here with Marathon, but this is one that they need to hit it out of the park. Like, they need this game to succeed from the Sony perspective because of Concord and because of all of the other games as a service games that they have canceled that studios were working on. All that time wasted, all that money wasted, and now they're going to have to build new games that won't be out for a long time. So they need something in that slot that is bringing in that recurring revenue. Marathon, I think, is what Sony here is banking on. Another game here that is a online multiplayer co-op games as a service game is FBC Firebreak. This is from Remedy, and this is kind of away from the other games, the style of games that they make when you think about games like Control and Alan Wake and everything. And I've played a bit of it. There's a lot of potential to this game. It is pretty fun. I was skeptical, though, as to how big this game would potentially get, just because you're not seeing a lot of people talking about it. It did not get great reviews, and it's a games as a service game that will continuously get improved. One of the things with the reviews is that it obviously needs to get better. But Remedy here has actually announced that it's doing pretty good. They have surpassed 1 million players, and they're acknowledging that there is a lot of work to do. They put this out here as an announcement that as of last night, we have surpassed 1 million players in FBC Firebreak, and this is a significant milestone, so thank you for playing from all of us at Remedy. We know there is still a lot of work ahead of us, and we are super motivated about it. We have a lot of exciting things cooking for Firebreak players. More about that soon. And one of the things, if you do look here, which is why Steam charts itself isn't the only thing that you should look at, because you see this happen. We've seen it happen with multiple games. You have people that are skeptical and don't think it's true. But the reality is, Steam isn't the only place people play games, especially for a game like this that is on 2 primary subscription service with PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. But on Steam, it peaked at 1,992 players 10 days ago, and it's been getting lower and lower. Yesterday, the daily peak was 169 players, and at the time of writing, there are 78 players playing the game via Valve's platform, and the user reviews are mixed. They say here, now it's definitely not a little too early to sound the requiem for the game. We've seen several online games starting badly and managing to claw back their way to a decent active user base. The reverse is also true, with some games starting off strong and then dying down like a flame. But they're saying here they've reached over 1 million players, and that's probably a lot to do with these subscription services. I think the question as to whether this game is going to be successful or not is, how long did these people play? Did they just jump in and try it and they're counting that and then they're putting out this announcement? Or is there at least a steady amount of people on both Xbox and PlayStation playing this game, holding it up here, and they're dedicated to continue to play it as it does improve? That will be the question. But the announcement sounds very good. We'll see in the future just what happens with it. I think as of right now, they're going to work on it and make it better, and probably try to get people to talk about some of these improvements that they do make to get people jumping back into it. But I think, like I said, I've played it okay amount, and it's fun. It just, there's still a lot to be changed here, still a lot that should be added to it to make it a game for, I think, a lot of people that will be worthwhile for them to invest a lot of their time in. Borderlands 4, there was a whole thing about the price. Would it launch at the higher price? Would it launch at the lower price or the standard price, which is still expensive, but it is launching at the standard price. But now Randy Pitchford is continuously talking about the price. I don't fully believe here what he is saying, as you've taken a look at other Borderlands games, and this has not been the case. So sometimes these are things that it's better just to not talk about it or to be quiet, but he seemingly does not want to not say stuff like this that I think will be worse off for the game in the future. But Borderlands 4 says they won't get a deep discount or hit subscription services for over 5 years. Now, if that is true, then it makes sense why he's saying this. But if in the next 5 years there is a deep discount or it does somehow end up on a PlayStation Plus or a Game Pass, these quotes are going to be going around and everyone's going to be pointing at it as him obviously not telling the truth. He says here, commenting on the X on the Steam Summer Sale 2025 deep discount of third entry into the series, which is now available for 95% off of its full price. So for Borderlands 3, the Gearbox CEO highlighted how it took 5 years for the game to get such a deep discount, which is just not true because Borderlands 3 has been on sale many times before this deep discount that they are talking about currently here on the Steam Summer Sale. I have Borderlands 3 and I bought it at a really, really cheap price. And he says here, and to become available on the gaming subscription services, suggesting players to take advantage of the deal. He says to set expectations for the future, Randy Pitchford added that it will take much longer for the same to happen for Borderlands 4. And he clarified his statement, suggesting that it may not be up to him for this to happen, reiterating that he is not involved in the pricing and sales. And it will be very interesting to see how much this statement will hold in the future. And you could literally take a look at the Borderlands 3 pricing and price charting, all that type of stuff, and you'll see that this game has dropped in price much faster than within 5 years since its release. And you can even take a look at the pricing history. I mean, you can see this game released September 12th, 2019, and you go like just within basically a year, you were getting a good discount on this game, $30 off, $40 off, and you go down even cheaper. So I don't believe Borderlands 4 is going to stay at that price tag for 5 years. I don't see that happening whatsoever. That's why he probably threw in that caveat that it isn't up to him, because he knows deep down that isn't the case as well. It will also depend on sales and stuff like that. So we're hearing good things about Borderlands 4, though. A lot of people are saying that they're highly anticipating it so far based off of what they have played. So we'll see. The game looks good. I'm looking forward to it. But the whole pricing talk around this game has just kind of been ridiculous. It would have been better for him to just keep his mouth shut and nobody would be discussing this stuff. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2, one of the most annoying things with it for a lot of people is the game key cards, because they're just basically doing what we currently are getting on a ton of games on Xbox and PlayStation, which is an unlock code in the box when you do buy a physical version of the game. But Nintendo was like that last pillar of physical games with the entire games on the cartridges, at least with the Nintendo Switch one. Yes, they had some games that you needed additional download on the Switch one, but a majority of them were fully on the cart. That's just not going to be the case here with the Switch 2. I believe the majority of them will be the game key cards. And a lot of people have wondered, is this being fully pushed here by Nintendo, or is there something else at play here? And we have this report here from Nintendo Soup saying that third-party publishers were consulted on ideas for Nintendo Switch 2 game key cards, and saying that they usually hear about third-party games not selling on Nintendo platforms, and proceed to say that even though game key cards are a half-baked measure with little appeal, many third-party publishers are using it. And they asked whether game key cards have something to do with the poor sales of the third-party games. This was all during the annual shareholders meeting on June 27th, 2025. And Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa started his response by explaining how game key cards work, and then went on to say that the company will work hard in helping third parties sell their games, and that the larger file sizes of Nintendo Switch 2 games brought about this creation. He didn't really answer the question on how these game key cards affect third-party game sales on the Nintendo Switch 2, but another shareholder shared a transcription of the same QA in which Furukawa was quoted as saying that game key cards were conceived as an option for publishers to bring their games to retail, and they have been considering ideas for game key cards together with third-party publishers and proceeding with selling games on the new physical format. So obviously this is the collaboration between both. They're looking at the numbers. They want to push people to buy their games digital. It is cheaper to purchase games digital. I think game key cards are just a way for Nintendo to get people to slowly back off buying physical cartridges, so that at some point in the future, next generation, maybe even for Nintendo, the generation after that, there's no more card slots on their consoles. There's no more physical media card slots on their consoles, and everything is only through the Nintendo eShop. That is the ultimate goal of Nintendo, of Xbox, and of PlayStation, is to get people fully locked in to their stores, to their ecosystems, and not going out there and buying games and then selling them secondhand to people and stuff like that. That is the ultimate goal. This started all back, if you really think about it, where that goal was told to us with the Xbox One and Don Matrick. People fought against it then, but we are here and have greatly surpassed that now here in 2025. But I want to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.